Good evening. How y'all doing? Oh, weird. Let's see. Can I not? Oh, I guess I can't do that. Well, that wasn't my plan. Let's see. Customization. Hello, Artwork Studios. Good to see you, man. Okay. Yeah. I meant to put it in members only chat, but I guess when I set up the stream, I didn't select the right option. So we're all gonna chat. That's fine. That's fine. I may not be super talkative. My plan is to just kind of focus on actually making some progress on this site. So if I don't respond a ton to chat, that's why. I might not be super attentive. Noob, what's the tech stack? It's just .NET. You can find the, hold on, let me get the repo for you. It's just a .NET API with a SPA front end. It's super simple. It'll probably be like a SQLite database whenever I get to that point. But right now it's just a minimal API with a SPA backend or SPA front end. A React SPA front end. There's the repo. In case you're curious. Oh, I was gonna pull up Sunday Night Football too. Yeah, so if I'm not super attentive to the chat, it's either because I'm distracted by watching football or I'm trying to make some progress. So don't take it personally. I just thought while I finished watching this game, I could also hang out here and try to make some progress on my app or my website, whatever you want to call it. Also, these screens are not the vibe. We're gonna put these screens in iSaver mode. Tell us the score of the football once in a while. It is 14-14. Minnesota Vikings versus the Dallas Cowboys. Let's do that, and then we also, after that builds, we'll start the SPA. And then let's fire up some Neovim. Steven, I don't think they're members. Oh shoot. Well, yeah, I originally fired it up and I was gonna put it in members only chat just so that I didn't feel terribly compelled to talk back because I have so few members, you know. But since I didn't set the stream up right to be members only, it is what it is. I'm not gonna kick you guys out now that you're here. A noob, are you going to add security? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You mean, am I going to build some sort of authentication or authorization system for it? No. It'll just be anonymous. Um, I mean, people can provide an email if they want to get a receipt. That's about as much identification as people need to give. But no, I'm not gonna have like a whole user system or anything for it. The main thing I want to get out of it is I want to figure out how. Uh-oh, something didn't work. Oh yeah, of course that's not gonna build because we have an error. The main thing I want to get out of it is how to set up a Stripe integration. That's the main thing I want to sort out. The nice thing about using Stripe is Stripe handles all the payment information. I don't really have to deal with any of that, which is nice. I mean, I guess that's the reason to use Stripe, right? Let's see, what did I do? I have unused things here. Let's just remove those. That way we can get this thing to run. Hey Sam, what's up, man? What's the plan? Simple implementation with Stripe or something? Yep, you're on it. You know what's going on. You are in the know. Yeah, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing per se because it's the first time I've ever done anything like this, but that's the idea, you know. That's the idea. The idea is basically to have a form on a site that accepts an amount, an optional email address if you want to get a receipt, and then the ability to check out through Stripe. And then if your payment succeeds, basically list anybody who has bought a coffee, essentially. So kind of like a MVP of what all those existing tools do for you. Okay, so let's go back over here. All right, so I've completely changed my mind on this. This is going to be a controlled component. So I guess we need some state, don't we? Yeah. So we still want all this stuff. We don't need that anymore. How do I want to do this? I guess I could just use state for this. I don't really need anything super fancy. So let's do some form group divs. Down here. Delete that guy. Put that there. We will slap a class on there that we can use as style. Call this a form group because why not? And then we'll do the same thing with these guys. Stick those out. And then we want an error message, right? So whenever we have an issue, we want to be able to tell the person that we have an issue. So we'll just add a little span here. And we'll say class name. I keep wanting to type normal HTML attributes because I've been so used to using Vue, but now I'm back in React land, and so that doesn't fly. And then same thing with this. We're gonna do error message. Okay, then we need, because of screen readers, we need to do an ID, right? So this is going to be input is going to have aria described by is what we want, and this is going to be email error message. We'll do the same thing down here, or not same thing, but then we'll have a aria what is it? I'm just going to go to the WGCA accessibility error messages on submit. Yeah, that's what I want. That's not the website. I think this is it. Yep, it's still Sunday for me. Sunday night. It's 8:30 where I'm at. So we want providing success. No, that's not what we want. We want, there's a section in here somewhere where it talks about like the proper way to handle I know I've read it before. I think that's what it's, I think this is where we just were. Using the validation summary APIs to implement client-side form validation in Silverlight. That's outdated. That's super outdated. There's one on form submit, isn't there? Yeah. Client-side validation alert. No, that's not what I want. Form. I know it's in here somewhere. Yeah, identifying errors in this form submission. Okay, how to use ARIA described by for form for input errors. So to use area described by for input errors, link the error messages ID to the input field with area described by, often alongside area and valid true. Okay, so we're going to do, so we just need to slap an ID on here, I think. Email error message. And then we'll have to do the same thing up here where we'll say ARIA describe, oops, ARIA described by. And then we're going to have some form state. So there's some other stuff we need to have here. So we need to say ARIA invalid. And initially we'll just set that to false, but this is actually going to be derived from the state of our form data. So for now, we'll just do that. And so I think what we'll end up having is we'll end up having some sort of state that has, I don't know. I don't know what it'll have. It's going to be a controlled form though. Hey, Faye 911s, how are you? Oh, I should probably pin a message really quick. Let's see. I'm working on building a simple site to learn more about using Stripe. I'm also watching Sunday Night Football and trying to actually make some progress. So if I publish your message. Don't take it personally. Okay, the question is, do I want to use any of this anymore? I don't think so. I don't want to use any of these. Okay. So what does the state of our form look like? So I guess to start with, let's just do const email and set email, and we'll just use some use state. Keep it simple. Const amount, yep, like that. Need to bring that in. And then we're gonna say, let's see, function handle amount input. Let's see, set amount, parse it to a number. Yeah, that's, I mean, I think that's fine. Starts as an empty string. And then let's also do function. We could definitely get this done with like a use reducer. You know, we could do like a more complex form state, but I think with just two fields like this, this is fine. It's a very simple form. On input. And then we'll also need to do some validation probably. Actually, we're going to do the validation on submit. We're not going to do it on handle amount. Input like that. I don't call it. And then we'll do the same thing down here. I don't know why sometimes my Neovim does that. Right now I'm typing tab, and sometimes it completes, and other times it jumps up. Something probably I have misconfigured. Let's see, email error message. Nope, don't need that. Okay, and then we're just gonna have an array, or we're actually gonna have a map of errors. So I think this is where how we're gonna do our errors. So we're gonna have const errors, and we'll do, yeah, just like that. And what we also want to do is whenever someone begins typing, we're just going to clear the error. So we'll say errors dot amount equals, yeah, we'll just set it to undefined. Then we'll also do errors dot email equals undefined. I think I actually like, instead of doing numbers fine. What else? So we have handle email input, we have handle amount input, and then we actually need to pass these as values. It's going to be amount. Yep. Like that. Is that Neovim? How did you do that AI autocomplete? It is Neovim, and I just use Max. How you doing? Good to see you in the chat. I don't have anything super fancy set up. I just use a Copilot plugin. So there's a Copilot.them plugin, I think. Yeah, this one right here. This is what I use. And then my Neovim configuration is actually, where is it? I think I can put it in chat for you. There should be a, yeah, those are my configurations. If you want to take a peek at my configurations, and this is the plugin I use. It works pretty well. I mean, there's definitely moments when I seem to have conflicts between Copilot, my snippet completions, and all the other stuff that I've got going on whenever I am typing in insert mode. But for the most part, it satisfies my need. Okay, so we have email error message, we have error message. So this is where the ARIA invalid is actually going to be derived from whether or not the error exists for the email field. So same thing here. And then whenever we submit, we will validate. So let's have, we have our handlers here. So let's go ahead and put function validate well, it's interesting because I think because I've typed this, at least as email, I think I'll get a little bit of validation help on the email side of things. So I'm still no validating the form, but I think I can still check the validity. So I think I can still do event dot form, or sorry, current target, and I can do report validity like that. And I think if I go to the form, 141. I know, super pretty form here. I mean, this is earth-shattering shit I'm doing over here. I think if I inspect this, let me pop this in the window real quick. Dock bottom, yeah, there we go. So then let's close the console there, open it over here. I think, yeah, so it's not valid, but it's not valid because I believe because the email property. And I don't really want to have to validate the email myself. And I don't really want to have to bring in a package to do it. So I think if I do that check, I can say console.log. And I think I also want to hold on. So one of the things that's recommended for accessibility is whenever a form errors, you're supposed to bring focus to the first basically input in the form. So like if email, yeah, so like I think I need refs for each of the controls. So let's do const amount input ref, which equals use ref, and then const that. Oops. Man, it's been so long since I've done anything with React. I feel like I'm in a foreign land. So this is going to be ref equals amount ref, which I think actually has a side benefit. So while I can use it to focus, it has a side benefit that I can also, I think, use it to capture if the email is invalid. Oops. Thanks, man, because I was using Neovim and Copilot CLI, another tab, but that is mostly vibe coding stuff. Yeah, the Copilot CLI is great. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know there's some other plugins. I think that like there's a plugin for Neovim called Sidekick that I haven't really checked out, but I've heard good things about it. Sidekick Neovim, I think is what it's called, and I've heard good things about it. I haven't tried it though, but it's supposed to give you more of like a, you know how like VS Code you can use Copilot like right in the editor. It's supposed to give you kind of that kind of experience. But I think you can bring whichever CLI tool you want, whichever coding agent you'd like, which I think is cool. So if you're a Claude Code user or any of those things, Gemini CLI. I pay for Copilot and Gemini CLI, so I probably use one of those two. But that's just me. Yeah, I haven't given it a shot though yet. I'm not much of a vibe coder myself. I see people doing cool stuff with it, but it just doesn't quite grab me. Hi, thanks for subbing. Appreciate that. All right, so what I was gonna say is, I think now when I submit, I can actually grab a hold of the email input ref, and I can actually say, check the validity state, and I can actually say, well, actually, I can actually check the validation message on it. I can actually say console.log. So this is where I'm just being lazy. I'm trying to use the browser's built-in APIs to avoid having to handle this kind of crap myself. Because who wants to validate an email address for the umpteenth thousand times? Yeah, see, so it's already taking care of that. But if I do at yt.com, it should not have a validation message. So the amount's fairly easy to validate myself, right? That's a pretty easy one to do, but obviously validating an email, I'll just let whatever the browser has decided is a good practice to do, right? Like why try to reinvent that wheel? Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a couple separate helper functions that will say, do you want to say validate form, or maybe we do it separate? Why would we do it separate? There's not really a good reason to do it separate, so I guess we can follow Copilot's suggestion. And so that's fine. Let's see, amount. If amount is an empty string or the amount is less than or equal to 0, that's perfectly okay. If, no, I don't want to do the email myself. So we'll do, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do if email input ref dot current dot validity dot the read only valid. Let's see, what have been added by the user does not conform to the constraints set by the element's type attribute. Yes, that would be what we want to key off of, because the type mismatch would mean you've given me text that's not an email. So we'll do if the email is type, well, actually, hold on. This field is optional. So this field is optional. So what we should do is we should actually check and say, if email dot trim does not equal empty, and email, meaning meaning they put something in the box other than just leaving it empty. Then what we want to do is we want to check the input ref.current, and we want to see if the thing has a type mismatch. And if so, then we're going to set our error. Like that. So again, this is just Steven being lazy and saying, well, I'm just going to rely on whatever the browser did to check to see if what's in this input is valid. And if it is, then I'm going to trust the browser. And then at this point, we're going to say set those errors. And yeah, we can do that. That's fine. So basically what we're saying here is we're basically saying, hey, if we found any errors, then this is not a valid form. So then we'll come down here and we'll say if validate form, we will just return. Actually, I don't like that. I want to do const is valid. And then here I'm going to say if is valid equals false. I've been writing too much Go, man. It's funny when I switch back and forth between Go and TypeScript and JavaScript and all these different languages. It's funny how, like, now whenever I write TypeScript or JavaScript, I don't want to write if statements that have parentheses. But then when I switch over to writing Go, I want to do a triple equals instead of a double equals. When you start trying to be a polyglot programmer, you start making all kinds of weird syntax mistakes. Okay, otherwise, we're totally valid. And so our form submission logic, what's going to happen actually once we get the Stripe pieces of this wired up, is this will be actually to do, we will swap out our form. Let's see, we will swap, we will stop displaying our form, and we will initialize the Stripe embedded elements and pass along the amount in email is what we're going to do. But for now, what we'll do is we'll just say alert form is valid. So let's do a little bit of manual testing, and then we can write some unit tests for this. So let's say we don't give anything here. We should have error. Oh, whoop. So we should have error messages, but we're not displaying those. So this should be errors.amount, and then this should be errors.email. So now let's try again. So this says, please enter a valid amount greater than 0. No, it's super ugly, but it works. But notice when I submitted the email, it doesn't care about the email, which is what I want. And if I start to enter a value, it should clear that error message, which is what I want. Now, if I try to enter an amount, if I don't enter an amount, and I don't enter email, or if I try to enter something in the email, but it's not an email, now it's going to validate both. I know, guys, this is earth-shattering shit, okay? Some smartass out there is like catching my stream in their feed and is like, is this motherfucker really still handcrafting a form? To which I say, yes. All right, let's do some. We should probably do some styling on this now, huh? Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get the form and the page styled and functional. I'm gonna merge that and deploy it, and then I'm gonna start wiring up the stripe bit. So I'm going to do those in 2 separate steps instead of trying to do it all at once. So let's add some, I guess let's add some tests for this now. Is there anything else I want to do here? We have our error messages, we have our ARIA tags, or our ARIA attributes properly set. Oh, focus. So what we should do is we need to focus. We need to take focus to whatever is the error, right? So, or whatever. So if amount has an error, that input should receive focus. And if amount doesn't have an error, but email has an error, email should receive focus, right? So it's whatever first input according to the flow of the form, whichever first one is errored, that's where the focus should go when we submit the form and it fails submission. So how do we, I mean, I guess we could just do this here and say if errors.amount, yep. Again, guys, I want to drive this home that this form is so simple that there's only 2 inputs. We really don't need a very sophisticated, generic, abstracted approach to dealing with this form. We're just being very literal and kind of writing the simplest like code, right? So I know there's ways that we could do this that would require us not being so pedantic or literal, but again, it's just this solves the problem. Sometimes you don't need a bazooka, right? Sometimes you don't need to overcomplicate things or over-engineer things. So if we did by, this should have received focus, but it didn't. I'm not, did I not write that out? Let's see. Yeah, it's not triggering focus. Why is it not triggering focus? I wonder if it's because, if I had to guess, the state of the let's see, console.log errors. I'm guessing since this method I wonder if this is all happening in the same render. So we do, yeah, there's nothing here. So what we want to do is we want to actually do this in our validate form. Popcorn, what's a buy me a coffee site? Oh, so if you don't know what those are, I probably should have put a link to kind of like as a reference. So there's 2 that I know that are super popular in the creator space that I see all over the place that people use. There's coffee.com, or is it co-fee.com? Maybe that's it. Yeah, there's this one. Or there's another website that's literally called buymeacoffee.com. And it's basically just a way for you to offer people a way to support or contribute to something that you're doing, right? Support your YouTube channel or support the open source software that you make or your GitHub contributions, right? It's like if you appreciate something I've done, you can buy me a coffee. The website that I use for my music when I stream, it's called lofigenerator.com. And for example, like the guy who built this, his name's Dylan Turner, and he has one of those Ko-fi sites. And so I bought him a coffee just to say thank you, right? Like, hey, I use your thing all the time. I really enjoy it. And so I decided that, hey, I want to learn how to do a Stripe integration. Like, I want to learn how do I accept payment? How do I build an app that accepts payments like this from people on the internet? Because I've never done that before with Stripe. And this seemed like a really good project that had a very small surface area and very simple kind of MVP, but would allow me to have a useful thing that also I learned something from building. So that's what it is. I mean, it's basically just like a donation page is essentially. And so mine is very, very simple. It's basically just going to be this, a very simple implementation of this for myself. Yeah, that's about it. It probably will have a little picture and a blurb, and I'll call it good. I don't really expect anyone to ever use it. I'm not expecting people to actually send me money, but I want to understand if I wanted to charge people for software that I built, or if I wanted to build a SaaS, or if I wanted to do anything like that, I want to feel some level of like comfort, right, or familiarity with working with the Stripe API. So that's what we're doing. I probably should have put that in the description. That would have been helpful, huh? Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see how frustrated I get trying to. I've heard mixed reviews on working with Stripe. I've heard some people say it's super easy. I've heard other people say it's a pain in the butt to hook up, and that it can be very complicated. So I'm interested to see what the DX is actually like. I mean, you can only take people's words, so much. So when I do set errors, it's okay. I think it's okay that I'm doing that, right? Set errors. Yeah, because I'm setting an object, so I don't need to spread it. It can just be a new object. What am I thinking here? I guess what I'm thinking here is I need to actually do something like this, where I need to say is valid. Oops, that's how you do that in Go, and how you do it in TypeScript is valid equals this. Right? And then what we'll do is we'll obviously return this, but then we're going to check and see if it is valid. If it's false, then we want to force focus to those inputs. I don't know if I like this, but so be it. However, this actually needs to be like an if-else, right? Because we don't want to focus. Yeah, it needs to be an if-else. Why are you angry? I wonder how you would do the transaction stuff. Is there a library for it or API? I'm kind of bad at this stuff. Well, hey man, join the club. I'm bad at this too. I'm learning as much as you are. No, there's Stripe has a ton of SDKs. So basically, what I'll do is I'll go to the Stripe website. I've done a little bit of reading of their docs, but there is an SDK that I'll use on the back end for C Sharp, and then there's an SDK that I can use in the front end in my React app, and they provide. I mean, they provide all the. So it's actually interesting. They actually provide an embedded element that is essentially an iframe that handles secure communication from your client directly to Stripe. So you don't have to actually do any of the payment stuff, right? You're just collecting some initial information, then sending the person into the Stripe checkout flow. And then the only thing your backend really has to do is your backend has to create I think they call it a payment intent, which is almost like a session, sorta kinda type of idea, but you create a payment intent, and that facilitates the checkout on the front end, and then from there, all your backend has to do is it just has to listen for events. It basically has to expose a webhook that Stripe sends events to, and you can listen to those events to react to them in your application. So if you want to persist something to a database, or you want to send a notification, or whatever you want to do with that information, you can do whatever you want. But Stripe takes care of all the credit card or PayPal or however that person's doing the transaction. You don't have to worry about any of that. So that's the big benefit of using them. I guess I don't want else. I guess I want else if. Yeah, I want that. So the idea there being, okay, first, if the errors.amount is set, we want to take focus to the amount. Otherwise, we'll check and see if errors.email is set, and we'll take focus to there, but we'll never take focus to the amount and then take focus to the email input, because that would be redundant. We also don't want to check. I don't think we want to check on the actual error state, because see, we're setting that up above. But I think this is all happening in the same render. So we actually have to check the new errors object that we created. So this still won't fix our issue. If we try this again, it still won't fix our issue. See, it's still not drawing focus. So what we need to do is we actually need to say not errors, new errors. New errors. And I'm gonna bring this down here. Or actually, that's fine. We can do that up there. So it's fine. I almost wonder if setting the errors should come here. There we go. So now you can see the focus goes there. If I provide a valid amount, but I provide an invalid email, focus goes there, which is what I want. Yeah, I almost wonder if the validate form returns the errors instead of returning a Boolean. I don't know. I think this is fine. Yeah, so that's pretty much all we need to do. I think that's fairly covers all our bases in terms of accessibility. We have the labels connected to our inputs. We have the ARIA tags so that we can still communicate to screen readers what's happening, even though we're using a controlled component. We are displaying the error messages. We are hiding error messages whenever we make an input. or we're basically resetting the error messages whenever the user makes a new input. I think that's good. I think now what I'd like to do is I'd like to do some styling, and we'll just go, I guess, into app CSS, and we'll just start working on some styling for this guy. So I don't like forms with side-by-side fields. I kind of like the label to be on top of the input. So I think we could kind of mimic their form, right? We could just kind of mimic what they have going on, make it our own a little bit, but let's see if we can find an example page. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Hey, Ulas. Good to see you, man. It's good morning for you and good evening for me. I'm watching the Dallas Cowboys try to pull one out against the Minnesota Vikings and trying to make some progress on this website of mine. I'm gonna split the window here so I can see my component while I'm doing the styles. So let's do app.tsx. I honestly don't know if I need. I don't really think I'm gonna need more than one component. I think I just really need one app component for the most part. This is such a simple site, but I'll probably extract this as I go. So I think our form should be a card, right? That seems to be the vibe I'm getting from all of their designs is if we have a form, this should be display flex, that's fine with the 300 pixels. Margin is 0 auto. I don't think I need that. Display flex is fine. Flex direction column is good. We don't want to. I think we actually want to max width, right? So let's do. Not 100%. I think the card we don't want to exceed a certain. You can do that. Then let's do a box shadow. We'll just take Copilot's recommendation here. And then let's hit it with some border radius, or padding would be good, but we're not going to use the absolute pixels. So let's do, we actually probably shouldn't use the absolute pixels up here either. So our base is, so let's do 300 divided by 16. That's 18.75 rem. Oh crap, I just closed Neovim. Gosh dang it. Gosh dang it. That's not frustrating at all. So where were we? We were doing app.css on the, let's see, recover. Yeah. And then on the bottom, we're doing app.tsx. There we go. So this will be 18.75 rem, and then padding we'll do, yeah, 1 rem's fine. Let's actually do 4 pixels. Let's see what that did for us. Now, obviously we can't see it. I mean, we can barely see it. So let's see what Canva gives us as a complementary color to this. I don't claim to be a designer, nor do I play one on the internet. Let's see, color. color palette generator Canva. This is a really cool tool Canva has. This color, they'll help you generate all kinds of stuff. And they have this tool where you can basically put in a color and then you can pick, give me a complementary color or give me a monochromatic color, which is really nice. So I'm going to copy this guy and we'll set the background color to this. It's a really cool free tool though. There's so many cool free tools out there like that they're just there, you know? Okay, that's not particularly that's not particularly inspiring. Maybe let's try to flip these. What does it look like if I flip these? So if I do index.css, what happens if I flip this to the background and I turn the foreground into that? How does that look? Yeah, I still don't know if I care for that. In any event, at least I can see my card and I can see the box shadow, so that's good. I definitely need a padding around the body of my site, though. I can definitely see that, right? So the body of my site, we'll just add some padding there for ourselves. And we'll say, give me padding of a rim. Okay, there we go. So we've got our very ugly our very ugly card. And then what are we gonna do? So let's go ahead and style the form, or let's go ahead and style the inputs. It's looking good so far. I don't know about looking good, man, but it's Copilot's helping quite a bit with the styling, which is nice. Let's see. Form input. I think, let's see. So it's going to turn my background color to some random, I don't know what that color is. I don't think I want it screwing with the border, but I'll let it. Let's see what those styles amounted to. Yeah, I mean, I can fuck with that. I'm not a big fan of the number control though, but I know that's nice for people to have, you know. I think I could actually restrict people from being able to enter if I set the min. If I set the min on the input itself, if I put min length of 1, not min length, sorry, just min, I think then it won't let people go below 1 with the control, so that's better. I don't think you can style these though, can you? Without doing some weird stuff, let's see. CSS, customize number input arrows. Let's see, customizing the default arrows of a number input is possible using vendor-specific pseudo elements, though options are limited to hiding them or slightly adjusting their size. For full customization, it's recommended to hide the native arrows and build custom buttons using HTML and CSS. Well, I don't think I want to go that far. Yeah, I don't think I want to go that far. So I think I'll just leave them. I don't know. I guess I could hide them, but if I'm gonna hide them, then let's see. And this is the kind of stuff that's still painful sometimes with the web, right? It's these weird vendor specific things you have to do like that. I think I'll just hide them. Just hide it. So we'll do form input type equals number. Oops. Form is invalid. Okay, so it's not handling decimals. That's because I'm parsing it as a number. So I guess, do I want to handle decimals? This is all the bullshit you have to think about. Yeah, I guess I do, which in that case means I don't want to just cast it to a number. I actually want to parse it to a float. Right? So instead of doing this, I actually want to do parse float like this. But then that also means then I need to form it amount is invalid. Oh no, form is valid, sorry. Oh, whoops, hold on. So then I'm an idiot. So it wasn't actually an issue. That wasn't an invalid message, was it? It was a valid message. Yeah. But I probably want to limit the digits, or the decimal places, right? So I probably only want to handle 2 decimal places. So what we should do is we should parse that out. This football game's close. Yeah, how do I want to handle this? So I think I want to do const value as a number. Which means I can actually do that, can't I? In which case then that. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I basically want to make sure that if value precision is more than 2 decimal places, we round it. Yeah, we want to round it. Round it to 2 decimal places. So we will do if it's not a number. Yeah. 100% that. Otherwise, yeah, we're gonna do that. So if we know it's not a number, or I mean, if we know it is a number, then we're gonna take care of rounding. We're gonna set the amount and return. Which means if someone comes in here and tries to do something stupid, we're basically gonna limit them. Although I'd like to preserve yeah, that doesn't handle trailing zeros, does it? Okay, I'm not gonna support I'm not gonna support decimals. You gotta give me an even number of dollars. Which editor are you using? And is it only React? No, this can support any language. I use it to write C#, Go, TypeScript, JavaScript. It's Neovim. So if you're not familiar with Neovim, let me point you at the website so you can go check it out. It's basically a terminal-based editor. It takes a little bit of work to get configured. I say a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of practice, and a little bit of effort to get it set up. I just dropped my Neovim configurations too in the chat if you're interested in looking at how my setup is kind of wired together. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to work in. It's the person who turned me on to it was actually watching the Primeagen streams because he uses it pretty heavily. And then there's a YouTuber named Typecraft that has a course called Neovim for Noobs. That's really good. That kind of walks you through like how to get up and running with it from kind of scratch. I really enjoyed his course. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to do parse int. Alright, we'll just do value here. Yeah. Which means then we can do that. And then I should be able to now, let's see if this works the way I want it to. So if I do this and I try to do point whatever, that's going to be invalid. It'd be really nice if I could That should be detecting not a number, right? So why is that not console.log value? So why is that not clearing out? I guess I would expect that to not. Mailman, hey, good GN. I had posted the link in Discord. I do not know what you're talking about, Mailman. I'm sorry. Thank you. Of course, yeah. Hopefully that piques your interest. All I know is now, if someone tries to give me 1150, I shouldn't let them. But now I'm questioning. Now I'm questioning the whole design. Now I'm thinking that this actually shouldn't be an input. This should be a control with a plus button and a minus button and some value. That's what that should be. And I should just control it. Why doesn't an empty string, though, clear this? So let's see. Why doesn't empty string clear a number input? Okay, so what if I just set it to, what if I do this? I mean, I know there's form validation. I know I'm getting hung up on this for no good reason. But now I can't get rid of the 0. Why can't I get rid of the 0? Interesting. Wonder, what if I do this? What if I just force it to 1? If I just always force it to 1. So you can't remove it from 1, but you can change it. Or no, you can't. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna stop obsessing over that because I'm not making any progress. All right, let's move the labels above the fields. See Artwork Studios. Have a good night, man. Mailman using Opus Clip. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that you were the guy that had recommended that to me. I did check it out. Yeah, I took a peek at it. it doesn't have anything that I need, you know? I'm pretty happy with my shorts process at the moment. But I appreciate you recommending me an interesting tool. So we've got our inputs. Let's do form. I think I called it form group is what I called it, which seems kind of redundant now. So let's do let's do percent %s form group. Let's just call it group. Flex, column, margin bottom. No, not margin bottom. What are you thinking? Let's do gap of, yeah, let's do that. Okay, Y. So Steven. All right, so this error message is way too big. It's too far away from the input field. But that's because we're using gap. Also, I think it doesn't help that I'm super zoomed in on this form. There's also no spacing between the above grouping and the bottom grouping, so let's fix that too. So let's do form, and we'll do, I think the gap here should probably be 1 rem. The gap here is still too big at 0.25 rem. So we'll do, also why is that not? Because I failed to add a class. Occam's razor, right? Okay, so one rem's way too, well, if the error message is there, it's probably fine. How come that's not working anymore? That should be, typing in this should be clearing that. Oh. Well, shit. My whole thing, I'm... So let's set this back to... We're going to set this back to this. And we're going to set this back to this. That was a way better user experience, I think. But I don't want to submit. Yeah, we need to go. We definitely need less space there. So let's do 0.5 rem. And then let's style this error message. What should our error, how should our error message look? Yeah? What should it be red? Should we just do like classic red? I don't know. Seems boring. Gosh dang. Sock pasta rock. What are we building today? Hello. Anything other than Tailwind feels ancient? Yeah, I don't. It's not that I don't fuck with Tailwind. It's just for most of the projects that I build, they're like one-man armies, And oh, that's sorry, Prakash. Sorry, I thought you were Sock Pasta Rock. Sock Pasta Rock. We're building a buy me a coffee site. Is what we're doing, but like a personal one, like hand rolled, instead of using kind of the out of the box services. Oh, as far as Tailwind, Prakash, I think Tailwind makes a lot of sense when you're working with a team of other developers. If it's more than one dude, there's a high likelihood you guys are going to duplicate CSS selectors and styles. But when it's just a one-man band type of operation, I still kind of just go with vanilla CSS. It's one less thing to fiddle with, one less thing to have to worry about when you build your site. So I just do good old-fashioned vanilla CSS. I mean, all of this is ancient, right? I mean, I'm building this in the most ancient of ways. I should have like 10 Claude code instances running all at the same time and doing all kinds of crazy shit and making 100,000 edits in 30 seconds. I'm doing this old school, which is kind of crazy to think that the way I'm writing code right now is now old school. It's wild, man. It's wild. This is why. That's why our spacing looks so off. Because we have these margin bottoms on stuff. There we go. That's much better. So if we do buy, then we get our email. So we need to bump this up to probably, I guess, half a room, maybe? Yeah, I can live with that. We could probably make the error message maybe like a little smaller than the. So let's do dot error message. Yeah, let's do it like that. I don't know what color that is though. Yeah, it looks fine. Some people style the inputs too, like they put like a red outline around it, but I think bringing focus to it and having an error message, I think that's plenty. I think it probably would be nice to indicate to people that the reason we are asking for their email is just in case they want a receipt. But I'm not sure the best way of going about doing that. I'd also like to prevent the browser extension. Isn't there an attribute I can set? Input prevent browser prevent password extension. I guess you can do autocomplete off, but a lot of password managers ignore it according to Google. So let's try it real quick. See if it works. See if Bitwarden. Let's see, autocomplete off. Yeah, Bitwarden says, "Fuck you. We don't care about you." It's annoying that Bitwarden is picking up on the fact that that's an email field, and so it's trying to fill it. It's honestly, it's not really. It's not really a me problem though. That's a user thing, you know? So I'm gonna just not worry about it. So this is our form. So I think that my first thought about our form here is it's too tiny. Let's see. Let's make the width maybe 400 pixels. So what would 400 divided by 16, what is that? Divided by 16 is 25. So 25. Maybe 350? So let's see what 22.5 looks like. We'll split the difference. That's fine. All right, and then the button, we need to style the button. Let's do form button. And what does Copilot recommend? I've just been taking all of Copilot's style suggestions tonight. So Copilot pretty much single-handedly built this, or Copilot single-handedly styled a lot of this. So I like the button. I think that looks fine. I don't know if I like the color. I've kind of developed a liking for pastel colors, to be honest. Let's see. Where is this? This is also what's the notification here? Looks like I need to fix the security vulnerability on one of my repos. More people are dogpiling on this. I feel so bad for maintainers sometimes. It's just like, it must just be so frustrating. Man, this game is so close. Minnesota's ahead by a point. It's been a lot of good football today. My favorite football team is the St. Louis Rams. They dropped 40 points today. Hey, Ashuto. Sorry I missed your message, man. I know that was like 8 minutes ago. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I kind of want to do like a purple pastel color. I had some interesting colors in here. Let's see, lavender. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, I kind of dig that. It kind of matches my mug. I mean, a little bit. It's a little off, but close enough. Yeah, I like that. Now, what do we want to do? So most of these sites, it looks like they have a profile picture, and it looks like they have the username or the person's name, so I can do that. And then the form, then essentially the form. I should probably collect their name. I should probably collect their name so I can show it alongside, because what they do is after somebody buys a coffee, they list, right? So they say, such and such became a member, such and such, donated or whatever. So I should probably collect some sort of identifier. Since I'm not going to have like a user, I'm not going to have authentication. I'm not going to have actual identities. let's just add that as a consideration here. So to do, maybe be good to require the user provide some sort of identifier so we can display that as part of the feed. So we have our form. And let's go ahead and add, I'm going to do a main tag. And let's get the form. And let's put that in the main tag. And then let's add a so I think what I should probably do is I should have a fragment here at the top level. And then we'll have the main content, and then for the header, my header will basically, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do, Copilot. So we're going to do a header, and this header is going to have, why is this angry? Must have one parent element. Did I delete the, oops. Then I'll probably add a footer at some point. But the header element is basically going to contain that image and the blurb beneath it. So we'll just do an image tag that has a source of, let's just do a placeholder. Yeah, let's just do a placeholder for now. And then we'll have a p tag that'll be like some information about me. This. I need to clean up some of these tabs, don't I? Yeah. That's basic what I'm after. Doesn't look pretty. I also want to center all this. So I think we need to change the body. Or maybe the root element. So if we do display flex, we do flex direction, column, and then let's do a gap of 1 rem, or actually maybe make it 2 rem, lots of separation. Yeah, because we're gonna want like a list, right? So maybe this isn't the right layout. I don't know what the right layout is. I'm just making this up as I go along. I think whenever you use a single column and stack everything up, I know it's not super exciting from a design perspective, but it makes it very easy to just be mobile friendly out of the box. right? And most people visit most websites on a mobile phone these days. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. So you don't have to concern if I did some weird layout where, I have this on the left side and then I have the form on the right side, and then I have, the list of people who have, you know, purchased or donated, like here, then obviously then I have to concern myself with responsiveness with these two boxes. So when it gets small enough, I need to wrap one of them below the other, and then I have to make sure, it adds complexity, which is, do you get much value from having a layout that requires you to think about that? I don't think so, probably not. I'm not a designer, okay? I'm very good at copying other people's designs and implementing their designs, but coming up with my own, that's a whole nother ball of wax. So this is the layout they've gone for, right? So their layout is 2-column with a 1-column header that then gets basically squished into a single column, right? So what I'm proposing is that we just start here, is what I'm proposing. That we just start with a single column like this, and we are happy about it. So how wide are their cards? Oops. I think it's Windows Shift M is how we turn on the measuring tool. No, Control Window Shift M. So how wide are their cards? Like 500 pixels? Yeah, 500 pixels. Okay, I dig that. Drecker, what are you going to use in the backend? It's just going to be a minimal API. It's going to be a .NET C# minimal API. Hey Carter, long time no see, man. Hope you're doing well. I know my stream schedule's kind of switched around a lot lately, so I haven't seen some of these faces that I used to see when I streamed at night. So good to see you. It's just so it's just the backend is just a you can see here. I just have a .NET minimal API, which at the moment doesn't have any API endpoints. It just serves static files, but eventually this API will handle creating the payment intent, and then it'll also expose webhooks to receive Stripe events from. I just haven't got that far yet. I do like having this like separate header. So I think let me have some tab discipline here. Let me clean this up real quick. So let's actually change the color of the header background real quick. So we will do header app.cs. Come up to the top here. And let's set header to background color that. And let's make it span. So this is where we're gonna have to adjust the padding. We actually don't want padding on the whole body, right? So let's go and remove that. Is it really 10 o'clock? Holy shit, guys. I gotta be up to stream in 6 hours. this is the shit that I love about programming so much though. The time just like you get into this and the time just kind of melts away, right? I just really enjoy this activity so much. It's easy to lose hours and hours on this shit. Yeah, so that's what I'll do. And then I'm just gonna bring the card into the center, kind of how they have it. And then at the top, just have an image, I'll have a blurb, maybe I'll have a number of people that have supported me. Then I'll have the form, and then below the form, I'll have the individual, like a feed of the individual people listed. That'll just scroll forever. Um, so I will need a database. I think I'm just going to use SQLite. I will need a database because I'll want to persist people who have donated. So I will need a database at some point, but I think I'll just use SQLite. I'll probably use Entity Framework with SQLite. Drecker, why not Golang? Because I just prefer C# and .NET. I learned Golang just so that I could do admin of code. That was really the only reason. But for actual like personal preference, I would much rather work in C# or .NET on the back end, if given the option. I just realized I've kind of had bad posture this whole stream, haven't I? Kind of been slouched down. Alright. Well, since I have to be back here in 6 hours, I think I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I wasn't expecting anyone to... I figured I'd turn on the camera and just kind of sit here by myself for most of the evening. So I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out, and I appreciate you tolerating the fact that I've been kind of ignoring you guys. Not necessarily on purpose, but just in the sake of watching football and trying to at least make a little bit of progress on my app. Thanks, Strecker. Appreciate it, man. Nice profile picture, by the way. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but nice profile picture. All right. Since there are 24 people here, I will just do my normal wrap up. So if you're new here and you want to interact with me or anybody from my chat outside of stream, you can check us out in our Discord. If you enjoyed the stream this evening, I don't really know how often will go live in the evenings. Typically, going live in the evenings is kind of a special activity for me these days. My normal stream schedule, I'll put in the chat. My normal stream schedule is from 4:15 a.m. to 7 a.m. So if you want to come hang out early in the morning, I know that's early for those of us that are in the United States, but I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2, and I work a full-time job, so the largest chunks of uninterrupted time typically come in the mornings. So that's why. Yeah. So if you see me around, stop in, say hi. I'll be here on the YouTubes. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me, keeping me company. Very kind of you. I'm going to go get into bed and prepare myself mentally for tomorrow's day 8, part 1 of Advent of Code on the morning stream. And apparently day 8, this is a pretty hard day from what I've heard through the grapevine. So we'll see how that goes. All right, guys. Y'all have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed the football today if you're here in the United States. I hope you guys had a great Monday, if it's still Monday for you. If it's Tuesday for you already, I hope you have a kick-ass Tuesday. And I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for chilling with me, guys. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys. Appreciate y'all.